success stories within small business land of New Zealand, I guess. And I've invited Sam Harith here from SH Advisory to talk about his story, his journey, as he uses a lot of digital tools and he is successful in his industry. And I think it's nice to hear from representatives within your sector to find out about their journey, their challenges and successes, and what digital tools they use to make their business run. So on Fridays, we're going to be focusing on this a lot from now on. Now, if you're joining us from one of our social media channels, you can communicate with us using the chat function, the Q&A function, or the comment section. We'd love to hear some of your feedback or questions you might have for Sam about his journey or the digital tools that he uses. We'll do our best to answer any questions that come through. And if we can't answer those questions, we'll make sure that the support team gets those answers for you by using support at digitalboost.co.nz, but we'll do it for you and get back to you on it. So thanks, Sam. Thanks so much for joining me here today.
Thank you, Anna Marie, for having me back again. I love being part of Digital Boost and I love sharing our stuff with you guys.
Yeah, same. We love like the stuff that you've been doing with the comic accountant coming on and educating us about finance and putting the fun in finance, which I think is hilarious. And I always like to reuse it. But I wanted to highlight your actual business because, you know, you yourself are a small business and you've gone along this journey and digitized, and you use a lot of digital media, so to speak, in order to make your business run and to grow your business. So let's start out with just talking about what made you start your business. You know, why did you get involved? You might even want to talk about why you got involved in finance, you know, and while you do that, while you do that, I'm going to set up the live chat so that all y'all can communicate with myself and Sam.
All right. Hey, thanks for the introduction, Anna Marie. So yeah, where to begin? I think we'll start with Anna Marie's first question. Now, why get into finance? When I was younger, I've always been a very highly extroverted, very bubbly, enthusiastic kind of person. And when I told my friends and some of my older relatives that I was going to be doing accounting as my first degree, they were just like, wait a minute, that's not for you. You should be doing like law or marketing or sales or something. But I think for me, I wanted to start working as soon as I could. I wanted to be financially independent. And so I chose to go with a vocational qualification, a professional accounting qualification, which would get me out in the workforce in 2 years' time, as opposed to the 4 or 5 years that you would with a degree. So that's what I did. I did that and I started working. Although interestingly enough, I started off working not in accounting, but rather in management consulting and investment banking. And somehow along the line, I ended up teaching finance and accounting at a university. And this was back in Malaysia. And so when you're in the university, then the next progression is to do your master's and then your PhD. And so in wanting to do my PhD, that's how I ended up in Aotearoa. And I liked it so much, I decided to stay. And I think the rest is history. Now, from there on, after getting my PhD, getting a job was difficult because there's a lot of competition to get jobs in university. That's one. And secondly, I did try to get jobs in accounting firms, but having a PhD meant that you are overqualified. And I did eventually get some jobs in accounting firms, but these often didn't last very long because a lot of smaller businesses out there, they tend to go through their employees quite quickly. A lot of them just wanted to hire me on a temporary basis until I finally got a job with a firm in Hamilton just before COVID struck. And so this was in March 2020. And then when COVID came along, they laid me off because I was there less than 90 days. And they were just like, oh, well, we don't know what the future holds, Sam. We are not going to take the risk of keeping you on when we don't know if we can still run our business. And yeah, they let me go. And so there I was left without a job, left with no opportunity to get a new job because this was at the very start of COVID. No one was hiring. And I just had to do something. And what I did was I went back to blogging, and I challenged myself to blog every day for 30 days straight. And we put out content every day, a comic and a blog, a comic and a blog. And eventually people started coming to me and asking me, hey, Sam, can you do my taxes? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I could. How much would it cost? Cool. $18 maybe. Is that reasonable? Yeah. And that's how we started. I mean, I would never do a tax return for $18, not anymore. I wouldn't recommend anyone do it. But that was how, I guess, desperate I was back then. But eventually, as I kept blogging, as I kept putting my profile out there and engaging with people on social media and just generally being helpful, more people knew about me, more people knew about the business. And I set up SH Advisory in May 2020 and to function as the company to run the business through. And we've just been growing ever since then. And we've had a lot of growth. We get a lot of our leads from our website and from our social media. And now, as our customer base has grown, we also get a lot of customer referrals as well from our clients and also from some of our partners who know of our business. I've been referred clients from some of my other fellow financial bloggers here in New Zealand. So a big shout out to Sunny Bailey of Wealth and Risk NZ, and also Ruth Henderson of The Happy Saver. Two really good friends of mine who have helped me a lot in my blogging journey here in New Zealand. In February 2022, ShareSite, which is a New Zealand-based share tracking company, and they're used by hundreds and thousands of people all around the world. They ranked us, our website, as one of the top 50 financial blogs in the world. And I think that was a real amazing achievement. It was a real amazing honor to be ranked up there with the likes of NZ Wealth and Risk, The Happy Saver, and also other blogs from the US, Australia, and Singapore as well. So it was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome.
That is awesome. It's so good. And you've provided us with links to some of your great blogs that you have on how to pay yourself.
Yes, unfortunately, those links don't work anymore because.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So you just need to change the URL. The name of the articles will be the same, but the URL needs to change from samharith.com to thecomicaccountant.com. Because what happened was that samharith.com got hacked in March this year, March, February. We suspect that they may have targeted us because of that top 50 list. Wow. And because I had built the blog as a side hustle. So it's just plugins upon plugins, sort of like slapped together, and had a lot of security issues. And yeah, we got infected. And my DevOps guy said, look, Sam, the best way is that we nuke the website. We don't want to expose your customers and your clients to the Trojan.
Yeah.
We'll nuke the website and we'll start fresh. And so we're starting fresh with thecomicaccountant.com. And it's also part of our rebranding exercise where we're moving away from the cult of personality that is Sam Harith to creating a brand which is known as The Comic Accountant. So The Comic Accountant is going to be the name of our blog, and SH Advisory is going to be our accounting and corporate arm.
That's how I've always thought about it. I feel like you're the comic accountants, your education kind of aspect.
Exactly. Yep.
And SH Advisory is where you go and actually talk money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Interesting story, because when I did first start the blog, I thought I was going to be I'm going to be a blogger. I'm going to be an influencer. I'm going to get people to pay me to advertise their financial products.
Yes.
But over time, and especially as the accounting side of the business grew, I came to the realization, I think in late 2020, that I was like, wait a minute. I've already monetized my blog. I don't need ads. I don't need sponsored posts. I'm already pulling in a lot of customers for the accounting business already. So in a lot of ways, the blog is already monetized in that sense. And that's also allowed us to create a strongly independent position for the blog as well, because we're not influenced by ads. We're never going to, I can promise our readers that we're never going to shove ads in their face. And we're not going to do sponsored posts either, because the problem with sponsored posts is that it always implies that you're sacrificing your objectivity in exchange for funds.
Mhm.
We do collaborative posts, but we only do collaborative posts with organizations that we believe in, that we believe are beneficial to our customers, and we don't get paid a single cent from them. So then the advice and the recommendations that you get from the comic accountant are actually totally independent and free of financial influence.
You know what? I think you said there was a lot there that you've gone through in the fact of just in your journey and your business. One was make sure you've got your cybersecurity stuff set up.
Yeah.
Two, two, have a clear objective about where your business, who you are and what you want your business to represent and who you want to be affiliated with. And, you know, and you can stick to that and make money. You don't have to sell yourself out. You can do it in another, you know, there are other ways. And actually the third thing that I loved was that you built this business off of blogs, which is just another kind of, I guess like an awakening for folks that blogs and stuff actually do work. You know,
Yeah.
you can use them and monetize your business with putting out good quality content. Like if your content hadn't been good, obviously, you know, probably not the same result. But because your content is so good and valuable, obviously top 50, hello. Yeah, like people tuned in. And then they were like, you know what? I trust this person. They're an authority in this space. And I want to be involved with what they're involved in, or I would like to take this to the next level and have them look at what I'm doing on a personal basis and whether or not they can help me to reach my financial goals. So very, very cool story. I guess what I'd love to hear, Sam, is that's kind of like your journey. What and some of your successes are linked in there. What would you say some of your challenges have been?
I think some of the challenges, especially at the start of the business, was actually acknowledging that I had a business. Yeah, because like I said, I started off just blogging, and it wasn't until people started coming to me asking to get their taxes done that I actually realized, like, oh, actually, I've got something here. Because when I was doing the blogging, my main goal was to get my name out there, my profile out there, so that when COVID subsided, I could get a job. I could take the blog and go like, hey, look, I've been busy. I've been doing stuff. Hire me. Yeah. What I didn't count on was on people directly approaching me to do their taxes for them. And it took me a while to accept the fact that I was running a business. In fact, I will say that it wasn't until July 2021, a whole 1 year after I set up SH Advisory, that I finally embraced that this is my full-time job. All throughout 2020 and 2021 and early 2021, I was just like, yeah, you know, I'm going to make this a really cool side hustle. That's all. I'm going to make this a really cool side hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think in July 2021, that's when we actually we turned over, I think, about $5,000-6,000 for the first time. And I was just like, I can actually make enough money off of this to support myself and the family.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it was only then that I really embraced the fact that it is a business, it is a growing business. And it was from there that I did all the things that I needed to do to grow the business. I think that was the biggest challenge that I faced, was really accepting that, yes, you're running a business now, Sam. Quit mucking around.
You have a number of people on your team now. How many people do you have on your team?
So we have 3 people who work with us regularly. And, 4, if you include our DevOps guy. He's based back in Malaysia. And we are looking at potentially getting someone to help out with content as well.
I think this is an interesting part about your story, is that you're not solely you would think, oh, he's in finance, you know, but really a lot of your work is done through marketing.
Exactly.
Like,
and
you have the skills to do the finance, but work and the people that you're hiring, it seems to me, after conversations I've had with you, are, you know that there's a really important aspect of having that marketing aspect be a part of your team.
Yeah. So the very first person I hired was a marketing guy. So that's not a bookkeeper, not an accountant. the first person I hired was someone to do the marketing.
Yeah. And maybe
Yeah.
you would, that's like something that you don't want to do. You know, you want to write the blogs. I know you love doing your cartoons and stuff like that,
Yeah.
maybe the actual looking at ads, paid ads, creating posts, maybe that's not the aspect that you wanted to do. And so you were like, oh, I'll get some guy to do that and I'll do the part I like.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the hiring a team is all about getting people to do parts of the business that you don't want to do yourself. Yeah. And I think moving into the new financial year, or happy new financial year, by the way, Aotearoa. Yeah.
Woo.
So, woohoo! Yeah. So moving into the new financial year, I think what I'll be doing as a person in the business is more strategic, developing new products, developing new services, and looking at how we can offer those services to our clients. And so with a team helping me put out content regularly, and I've got a bookkeeper who helps churn through the accounts. I still do a lot of the accounting work myself. And we've also got an ad guy who helps out with admin as well. And he's not only helping our business out with admin, but he's also helping me develop a new sort of admin outsourcing service as well for our clients, where we go in and we develop systems using our huge expertise of digital tools to help clients get digitized as well. So yeah.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
You are very resilient. I kind of feel like your business grows organically with where you see holes. You go, you know what? We could fill that. We've got the skill set to do that. Why don't we just add that on?
Yeah.
I actually think a lot of accounting firms are having to diversify the services that they offer. And it's not necessarily out of their financial necessity as it is out of just demand. I think a lot of us, as the world changes and globally and finance changes and all that stuff, people are wanting to educate themselves more so that they can understand how to actually get ahead, and these services are super valuable.
100%. See, we believe that there's always going to be a need for finance and accounting professionals, because no humans are created equal. And the vast majority of the human population don't like to look at numbers. They don't like to have to brain their finances. They don't like to have to they don't like to have to worry about their taxes. And there's always going to be a demand for experts and professionals who can fill that demand, right? However, how you fill that demand is changing. In the past, it used to be you saw your accountant once a year, you gave them your spreadsheet, your receipts, whatever it is, and then you trust that they would file it correctly, right?
Yep.
But these days, now with a lot of, you can use heaps of digital tools to automate all these processes for you, right? And there are lots of digital tools that we use, in fact, to automate a lot of these financial processes for our clients, right? And by using these tools, the physical amount of bookkeeping work that accountants do is greatly reduced, right? It doesn't make sense to be charging by the hour to do someone's accounts anymore. Hence why we take the view that we charge a fixed fee based on how much sales that you're making, and it will provide you not just with bookkeeping and compliance filing and all the usual stuff that other accountants do, but we place a really, really strong emphasis on delivering quality financial advice. I think that's really the emphasis of our firm, because when you pay an accountant, you should not be paying them to file your taxes. You should not be paying them to do compliance work for you, but you should be paying them to give you that unfettered financial advice that's going to help your business grow. That's what you want an accountant for.
Love it.
Yeah.
Now you keep on talking about these digital tools, and I feel like we should go there. So
let's do it.
So I thought we'd start out with, we're going to start from websites,
Sure.
like who you're actually using and why and how that's changed. And then we'll move into your socials and like all your comms. And then because you have a team, I want to talk about what tools you use to work with your team and your admin. And then I want to move into finance and security. Yeah, because you are a finance organization. So let's start with your website. Who do you use? Who's your provider?
Yep. So our provider is EasyWP. We moved over from EasyWP from Free Parking. So Free Parking is still a New Zealand-based website. I am I allowed to talk bad about other companies?
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe no.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. Cool. I won't diss Free Parking too much,
Yeah.
but our DevOps guy basically found that they had a lot of security issues in terms of
Okay.
not having two-factor authentication set up, not notifying me about the malware infections in
Mhm.
my website, before it became a problem, obviously. And so he recommended that we move over to EasyWP, which is owned by Namecheap, whom we have our domain name with.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And now EasyWP, that's your host, right? But
that's our host. Yeah,
who's your build, like what have you built your site on?
WordPress. So
On
we use
WordPress.
WordPress. Yeah, we use WordPress because WordPress is easy. It's simple to use. A lot of designers work with it, and it's cheaper than other solutions out there, arguably. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It has some really great, and I think it's scalable. There's a lot
Yep.
of things that you can do with WordPress that, you can change the code a lot easier if you wanted to actually add features that were specific to your industry. You're able to do that kind of thing with WordPress. And
Yep.
the other cool thing is, you had that issue with your malware, and then you went, you know what, this host is not working for me. I'm going to move to a new host.
Yep.
You don't lose anything by moving
Yep.
your site. Whereas if you would
Yeah.
move from Squarespace to WordPress, I believe you would lose your Google gains, as we call them,
Well,
because when you change platforms, you actually lose a lot of
okay.
your ranking with
Yeah.
with Google. So
Well, I
so
mean,
that's one.
we've lost our Google gains already because we switched over to a brand new URL.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be hard, but I
That's
think,
okay.
but I'm not too worried because we do have the strength of our social media presence. We already have the strength of um, the online footprint of even the Sam Harith name itself is already out there. So it's just a matter of plugging in the SEO of the comicaccountant.com and getting back
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
link it, backlinks. Yeah.
Backlinks, yeah, backlinks. When samharith.com gets off the blacklist of Malware Bytes blacklist, then yeah. But
Tragic.
for now, we've taken samharith.com offline because
Yeah.
it's on Malware Bytes blacklist at the moment, and so yeah, we're just gonna lay low, give it a few more months until it all blows over, and once we're off the blacklist, we'll do the backlinks. Yeah.
Lessons, people. These are all lessons.
All lessons. Hey, you want to take your digital security properly, you want
Yeah.
to take it seriously.
Yeah.
And if any of our listeners out there run their own website, have a chat with your website guys.
And let
Have
me
a talk
tell
with your
you,
hosting providers. Yeah. Yeah.
next week,
Update all your plugins.
update, and next week we've got Cisco coming on, who is obviously security.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
they're
Wow.
actually giving away to Digital Boost users a security health check. You can get that done for free by Cisco, and they will,
Wow.
so
Wow.
take
Yeah.
advantage. Tune in next Monday at 10 and find out
100%.
about that special offer.
I
Yeah.
think anyone who doesn't have their own DevOps guy,
Yeah.
working on their business, anyone who doesn't have an IT team helping them out,
Yeah.
you will want to take them up on that offer.
Yeah.
Definitely. Especially if you do as much business through your website as we do,
Yeah.
you want to do that. You definitely want to do that. Yeah.
Great lessons. So, okay, let's move on to your socials and your email, because it is a really powerful force of your business.
Yeah.
It's a driving force. So who do you use? What social media channels have you found are effective for you being in finance?
Yeah, I think primarily, interestingly enough, most people go like, "Oh, LinkedIn, right? Why aren't you on LinkedIn? You should be on LinkedIn more." But actually, we find that Facebook suits us a lot better.
Interesting.
Because I think it's just the nature of our content. It's easy, it's accessible, it's funny,
Yeah.
and we find that we get a lot of engagement on Facebook. We do have a LinkedIn profile. We do have a LinkedIn profile, but we don't get a lot of traffic on our LinkedIn profile simply because I think, and pardon my language, I think LinkedIn is full of posers who, yeah,
Judgment. Wow, you're just slinging. Watch out. Don't cross. Don't cross.
No, I mean, sorry. Let me dial that back down a bit. But I mean, I do feel like a lot of people with their profiles on LinkedIn, they want to project this image of professionalism, right? They want to look professional, they want to sound smart, they want to look smart, they want to talk smart, right?
Yeah.
And I think because of that, that's why they don't gravitate to our content, because it's simple, it's easy, it's fun, it's easily accessible.
Yeah.
It's not guarded by walls and walls of jargon. Whereas that's not what your LinkedIn reader is looking for. Your LinkedIn reader wants to share something that's going to make them look smart. Like, hey, look at me, I'm sharing this article about all these weird and complicated concepts, and you're going to have to ask me about it, then you probably don't know as much as I do.
Yeah, you're for the people, Sam. I get it.
I mean, again, I'm not dissing LinkedIn as a platform. I do believe there is a talent market.
But
it just doesn't align with our marketing goals. That's all. Yeah.
I totally get it. it. There's a time, and we've talked about that. I mean, we've had Stanley Henry on before, and he will literally, and that's what he does is LinkedIn. And he has literally said, if you sell dog, jackets, LinkedIn is not the platform for you, because people aren't on LinkedIn looking for dog jackets, so even if that's his biggest source of income, he still has the wherewithal to say, every platform's not for every business,
Exactly. I think, and I agree with that sentiment 100%. And actually, I do find that LinkedIn's a better platform for getting jobs rather than selling business, is what I find.
So, okay, so you do a lot of stuff with comics, obviously, and graphics and stuff. What kind of tools are you using to create these graphics?
Great question. So I work with Krita mostly. That's a free graphic drawing software, and use that to make the comics and all that. Also use Fire Alpaca for some of our GIFs and animations. GIFs. Yeah, and we're looking at getting in Photoshop as well, because I figure that we can actually afford Photoshop now. We don't have to use a free. Yeah.
Creative Cloud, here we come.
Yeah, let's go. Looking at using Photoshop as well to make more drawings and graphic design from there. Like I'm not an expert graphic designer by all means. We'll still work with professional graphic designers to design our assets and materials. I'm just a dude who just likes to draw comics. That's all I am.
Yeah. Now, do you use sites like Fiverr to find talent for?
Nah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna dial it back down a bit, so I don't.
Don't dial it down. This is what we love.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I don't believe in using sites like Upworks and Fiverr, because
we've got a list now. I've got at least 3 things on the list of don't use. Okay, why not?
Like you say, I don't really want to diss these brands, but I do feel like I am kind of dissing these brands.
Well, it's your preference. So why?
Okay, right. So everything mentioned in this discussion is purely Sam's opinion and does not reflect the opinion of Digital Boost.
Thank you for the disclaimer.
So I don't like working with sites like Upworks and Fiverr, because I think, number one, it's a race to the bottom. A lot of the work that you find on Upworks and Fiverr, a lot of it are people underpricing themselves. And from an ethical point of view, it creates a race to the bottom. It takes advantage of individuals, professional individuals, who have worked really, really hard in developing these skills. And
then they have to undercut their prices.
And then they have to undercut their prices and therefore devalue their services to the market.
I like what you're saying here. I don't think this is at all. It's
and that's what I don't like about them. And because they're undercutting their products, by the end of the day, you're going to get a service that is also undercut as well, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to deliver service at that price point. doing the sort of work that you're doing, especially if you're looking for a graphic designer or a web designer or someone to fill that sort of particular role, right? They wouldn't be able to do that for you at that price point. I know that there are people who swear by Upworks and Fiverrs because it's quite easy to pay someone in Malaysia 10 New Zealand dollars, to get your logo and branding done. Sure, it's easy. But again, I think coming from Malaysia as well, what you're doing is that you are basically exploiting that person in Malaysia who doesn't have it as good as you do, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, that person in Malaysia has spent thousands and thousands of dollars getting trained up to where they are.
Yeah.
And you're not giving them a fair wage for what you're expecting them to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you resource your, when you outsource, how do you find those folks? Is it just through word of mouth or?
Yeah, word of mouth and personal contacts. So 3 of our team members are based in New Zealand. Our graphic designers are also based in New Zealand as well. Only our DevOps guy is based in Malaysia, but that's, by choice because he wants to be in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Right. And we pay him his market rate, right? Yeah. He dictates the price to us and we pay that to him. We didn't find him, on Fiverr or Upworks or anything. That was through a personal contact. So we know that we're giving him good value for money. Mm-hmm. And I do make it a point that everyone in our team are paid what they're worth.
Yeah.
And where I can't pay them what they're worth, we do let them know that not right now, but we're working towards getting there. And part of that also means that we are super, super transparent with the team. And each and every one of the team members knows exactly how well the business is doing every month. Like I literally share the profit and loss reports and our balance sheets every single month with our team members.
I love that because I think that there's a lot of stigma, or there's been created this culture where nobody can talk about their wages. Nobody can talk about, and it's like, I've been in situations myself where somebody could be doing the exact same job, be making a lot more money, but less experience, but you're not allowed to ask that person what they're making, but you find out through the grapevine. It's much better if there's just that transparency to begin with.
Yeah. And
so
I think
conversations can happen.
Exactly. And having that transparency also means that, the team will know exactly when I can afford to pay them more.
Yeah. Exactly.
And they're not going to hold it against me.
Sam, I'm up for a raise.
Yeah. And I do have those conversations with my team members. Or in a lot of times I try to preempt them having that conversation by bumping up their rates before it comes to that. So if I can tell that we can afford to pay them more, I make it a point to pay them more before they point out to me like, hey, Sam, you could pay me more.
There's some really great, you're saying some really valuable things about just taking care of your staff, which I think is really important.
100%. I think one thing which I've told all my team members is that, look, you guys they've done an amazing job with the company, with where we are right now. And in fact, part of the reason why I want to rebrand as the Comic Accountant and not Sam Harith, the Comic Accountant, is because Sam Harith didn't do all the work. Sam Harith didn't make the Comic Accountant the top 50, financial blogs in the world. That wasn't Sam Harith alone. There was Sam Harith and Ryan Gondapon and Harry Yiv and Peter Holt, and Chan Ju Ping, right? And so these guys behind me who are also part of the team who are helping us get there. And if you take care of your team will take care of the business. I think that's it, really.
That's what we're going to move into next. We're going to move into team. I mean, you've got team members here in New Zealand, but you also have a team member in Malaysia. Yep. So let's talk about some of the things that you use in order to communicate with your team, whether it's on collaborative projects or just basic, hey, like, can you have a look at this file kind of stuff?
That's an awesome question, Anna Marie. So we actually started off using Discord. For those of you who are not gamers, you probably don't know what Discord is.
Yeah, I don't know what Discord is.
So Discord has been around. Discord's been around for a long time. It's been around since 2010 or 2014. I can't remember, but it's been around for a long time. And it's really, really popular with gamers and streamers because it allows you to create rooms where people can follow you. So a lot of game companies have Discord channels where people interact directly with the developers. Another great thing about Discord is that it's got really high latency streaming. It's probably the best streaming capabilities out of all video conferencing softwares in the world that I've tried so far. And it's basically one-to-one. So like, you know how you share your screen on Zoom, there's always a bit of a lag, right? When you move your cursor across the screen. Not with Discord. Discord is just like lightning fast. Wow. And so we use Discord for our team meets initially and for our team discussions until it was pointed out by our DevOps guy that you do realize that Discord is not a very secure platform, right? And then I sort of like, and this was in the wake of the whole website getting affected by the Trojan and all that. And so I sort of like went like, oh, ooh, okay, right. Let's switch to a more secure platform then. So we still maintain Discord for our social communications. And so the idea is that once we get more following on our Facebook and through our other media, we do want to bring readers and audience onto our Discord platform so that they can communicate with us directly, you know, and show that Discord's not just for games, but Discord can also be used for small businesses as well. Yeah. And I think it's also part of that. I think you might have heard about this great social media migration as well. You know, people dropping off Facebook, moving on to TikTok, and moving on to these other social media platforms. And I do believe that Discord is part of that future. So hence why we want to invest into Discord, because once Facebook starts bleeding customers, we want to be able to catch where they're going next.
Excellent little tip there.
Yeah.
Now I can see that you use some other more sharing kind of SaaS platforms. So these are cloud-based platforms that are all kind of set up for you. Google Workspace is one that you use. And then you use some automation for your calendar as well. So do you use those specifically just for, you know, use Calendly, don't you? And I use Calendly as well.
Calendly is a really cool little software.
Yeah, I think it's really easy you can pop your link. So if anyone's not familiar with Calendly, you can set up a schedule that are your opening hours, so to speak, and how long you want people to be able to book meetings for. So you could pick 15 minutes as mine, you know, because I know they're going to run over probably. But if I put it at 15, then it's like, you know, it doesn't end up taking up too much time. If we can get it done quickly, great. So I have that little link in my Google Gmail, and people can just click right on it and book an appointment with me. Is that how you use it as well?
We actually just have Calendly built into our website.
Oh,
so
awesome.
Yeah, they can book directly from the website. Yeah.
Fantastic. And it's free. Like, do you pay? Is yours free?
It's free. It's free.
Yeah, it's totally free.
We've grown our business this big without having to pay for premium Calendly, which is good for me, but I do want Calendly to make money somehow.
Yeah.
So that they can continue offering amazing service. Yeah.
And then your CRM, who do you use? So your customer relationship management system, who are you using?
So we use HubSpot. We're big fans of HubSpot. Use HubSpot back when it was free, and they offered a ton of services when it was free. And we've only had to upgrade because we hit the free email limit.
Oh.
Yeah. Which it's a lot. It's a lot, by the way. It's about 3,000 emails a month. We easily hit that. Because we send out a lot more marketing material than that each month. Yeah. So we paid for HubSpot just so that we could get the increased email size. And HubSpot's also amazing in helping us track our deals. So every time a new client comes on board or someone asks about accounting services, we put them on the sales pipeline, and it also helps me to visually check whom I've sent proposals to and whom I need to follow up with. And HubSpot's also really cool. It's really sneaky as well. It sits as a plugin on your Google, and it'll tell you whether the person you're sending the email to has opened the email or not, whether they have even bothered reading it. And oftentimes you can see like clients have opened it 6 times, but they haven't responded. And then you can go like, hey there, you know, have you seen the email I sent you? You know, because I totally don't know if you have seen it. I know you have.
Crack up. I'm gonna
Yeah,
make
so
it
to all my clients watching this,
now.
I know whether you've been reading my emails or not.
Now I'm thinking of all those times I've opened emails and thought people didn't know. Crack up. Crack
Yeah.
up.
It's like the little WhatsApp double tick, you know? Yeah. Or the Facebook messages
I got
seen.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'll know whether people I'm emailing have seen zoned me.
Awesome. Now let's finish on finance because
Yeah.
you are finance,
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so what financial tools do you use in your financial business?
Yeah, awesome. So we use a lot of zero, right? And we use a lot of zero, and I'm only promoting zero not because I'm not getting paid anything
Yeah.
by zero, by the way. Although we are a zero.
Reach out if you'd like to.
Yeah,
If you're
yeah, but full and fair disclaimer though. I mean, we obviously, we don't get paid zero a single cent from promoting zero. However, as a zero partner, we do get a commission. We do get a cut of basically any zero products that we get our clients on. But when we get our clients onto zero, it's not just because we make a bit of a margin on it, but it's also because we are part of the zero ecosystem. And so we use Workflow Max for our project management, and that ties in perfectly with zero. And zero is also compatible with a lot of third-party applications. So for example, if we want to use HubDoc to capture client documentation, we can use HubDoc for that. If we want to get payroll into zero, we can get zero payroll. If our clients want more specific type of plugins, like having group reports set up, or even data analysis and financial reporting, which is something else that we do, zero really works really well. We used to have more clients on MYOB, but we've slowly migrated clients over from MYOB onto zero. We do have a few holdouts who insist on using MYOB, but in those cases, the clients usually manage their own subscription. We don't manage their subscription for them.
Yeah. And I think that it's, a lot of accountants, it's not so much about the margins. I would imagine being a financial, advisory and like accounting firm, it's about, the organization and transparency and visibility that using online software provides.
Exactly.
Both the accountant and the business owner and or person, that is using it, sole trader. So although, I guess there's a bit of a kickback there, it actually probably saves everybody time. So anyway.
Yeah, it's not a huge margin either, by the way. We're talking like 10-20% only. Yeah.
So you've got a tool here that I'm not familiar with at all. It's for forecasting and budgeting and
well, I would love to talk about that tool, Genie, a bit more, but maybe we can do that for our next session. We can talk about it a bit more. So Genie is this really cool little software that I discovered over the Christmas break. So for the longest time, I've been trying to tell my clients that financial data analysis is important for small businesses. And I think many other small accounting firms have tried to push into that scene as well, but without any success. A lot of people use Power BI, but Power BI is a great tool, but for larger businesses. And often getting the right connectors to connect Power BI with something like Xero can be super, super expensive. And so what we've done is that we found Genie just by stroke of luck, because I was showing some data analysis software done with a different company I was using. Initially, it was through Power BI, because Power BI had a free Xero connector, which they've already stopped the discontinued work for. And then I went with RT Reporting, which is a startup based in Australia. But RT Reporting was a bit expensive at $150 a month. And then Xero, after ending their connector, they recommended that we go with Actress, which was charging $300 a month for only up to 10 connections.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. And having to pass on that cost to my clients, no one's going to pay that much. And so what I did was I looked for free Xero connectors that connected to Google Sheets because we're already invested in the Google Workspace, right?
Yeah.
And Google Sheets are quite easy to share with other clients because most people use Google.
Yeah.
And I tried to look for free zero connectors with Google Sheets and I found Genie. And Genie was amazing. It extracted all the data onto Google Sheets and I could work on Google Sheets. I could create financial models, projections, everything from there through Google Sheets. And recently they've upgraded their software and they've created a cash flow model where they create Google Sheets. They're still working on Google Sheets. I think that's part of their core offering, is that you get the intelligence of financial analytics software, but with the flexibility of working on a spreadsheet. Yeah.
I'm gonna let that digest a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And so to keep it simple, what it does, it gives every business connected a 6-month rolling forecast. You're able to predict, you can run different models. You have a headcount planner that allows you to budget for increased headcount in your business. How much is it going to cost to get new employees? You even have a capital expenditure planner that helps you plan forwards any new capital expenditures, right? And Genie also has an intelligent forecast system that tries to forecast your next earnings over the next 6 months based on your previous earnings. And you can also set different models for different revenue forecasts and different cost forecasts as well. And it really takes a lot of the manual work out of having to calculate this on my own.
Oh.
And the real value for small businesses here using these sort of forecasting tools is that you keep yourself accountable. You keep yourself accountable to your financial goals. You make sure that you are hitting those financial goals, and you are ensuring that you're not spending money blindly in the business. I think that's where the real value of it is.
Yeah.
And I say all of this knowing that most small businesses aren't even going to need these sort of tools, but there is a subset of our clients who are looking for these sort of tools, and we will obviously be charging them for this sort of services.
Yeah.
At a value that they will find appropriate.
Yeah, lovely. Good investigative work there, finding what you needed.
Yeah, sorry if that got a bit dry. Yeah.
There's always a tool out there. I mean, it never ceases to amaze me. And then the last one I wanted to talk about was your security, because you obviously, we use LastPass, but it looks like you use some different security management systems.
Yeah. So our DevOps guy, he's a very strong open source kind of guy. He's a bit of an anarchist as well, and he's just like, yeah, I'm not gonna use any thing put up by big corporate.
Yeah.
So a lot of the systems that he's gotten us on are actually open source. And because they're open source, you might think that open source sounds like, oh, that means anyone can go and modify the source code, right?
Yeah,
But
it doesn't. It just means that
it doesn't
use a.
Yeah, exactly. It means, oh, there's a Q&A.
Sorry, I missed the first part of the session, but question about your business budgeting. Do you apply barefoot principles?
Oh, awesome question. Yeah, so I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of the Barefoot Investor. I love Scott Pape. And I do credit Scott Pape with inspiring me to begin my own financial blogging journey. And yes, so as far as the business budgeting concepts are concerned, we do follow barefoot principles. In fact, in our Pay Yourself training that a lot of our clients have used, I think we've done it with Digital Boost as well. We advocate the use of multiple different bank accounts to do different things in your business. And if you can access the original Pay Yourself article on our website, we do have a special section at the end of the article for paying yourself for business owners who are barefoot investors as well. So, and that talks about how you pay yourself. And then after paying yourself, how do you then use barefoot principles to allocate whatever you paid yourself into those different accounts? So yes, we do use barefoot principles in our budgeting.
Great question, Tracy. And I'll just check the other social media channels because often they come through. I can see people watching, but I don't see any questions as yet. And we're just finishing up our time here with Sam.
So talking about security.
You should drop them in the chats now because we'll probably run out of time. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. So yeah, I'm talking about security. So yeah, we use a lot of open source software. So KeePass is open source. And open source here means that because no one owns the code, like if you were to hold your passwords with, say, Google, for example, right?
Mm.
Google can still be pressured by governments to release your passwords that you have on file. Like, it can happen. I don't think it will happen, but there's a possibility that it could still happen, right? And but with an open source platform, no one owns it. There is no financial incentive for the creators of the software to cave to financial pressure from any organization at all. So hence, that's why we're using open source platforms like KeePass. And we've also shifted over to an open source chat platform called Matrix.
There's a
Instead
lot
of
of
using,
open source really good stuff.
yeah,
And we chatted with a guy who owns a couple of business, MedImage, and he owns another business, and they use all open source. So if you want to hear about some more open source stuff from a Digital Boost session, check out the session that we did with MedImage. Because
nice.
yeah, they
Yeah.
built their whole business on open source. It's all
Wow.
nonprofit, and it's all nonprofit, and it's all open source. Everything. It's completely
Wow.
transparent. Yeah.
That's
So
amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so we've used that for, and we're getting YubiKeys as well. So YubiKey is it's a physical key that basically unlocks your password manager, and your password manager won't unlock even with the password if you don't have that key stuck inside your computer. So that's an additional layer of security. So even if my computer were to get remotely hacked, the hacker cannot hack into my KeePass database because they don't have the physical key. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great little extra, especially with the kind of
Yeah.
business that you own.
Yeah.
You want
Especially
to know
because,
that
we,
your accountant has lots of security stuff in place.
yes. So if you are a client of SH Advisory, you can rest assured that your data is kept under lock and key.
Oh, you love a pun. Oh, no.
It's got a password lock and a literal physical key as well. So yeah.
Crack up.
Yeah. The only way
I
any hacker can get in is if that they hold me at gunpoint and go like, give me the key, Sam.
Yeah.
Which case then I'm sorry guys, but my life's more important than your data.
Fair enough. We're
Yeah.
right there. Now, I want to finish this session with any advice that you have for somebody just getting started in their business. It doesn't have to be pertaining to the financial sector, just in general, a piece of advice because of all of your wisdom that you would like to offer.
Well, this is gonna sound really cheesy,
Oh,
but
good.
I think that the best piece of advice that I can give to anyone starting up their business is to find yourself a good accountant. Because unless you're in financial services, unless you're an accounting professional yourself, finances is the single most daunting aspect of your business. That and you're not going to get a lot of information about it online either. If you go to a lot of the startup sites, right, and startup courses, everyone talks about branding and marketing and your USP, right? And the only thing, if they ever talk about finance, is only things like, that's here's how to predict your budget for the next 12 months. No one goes into details about the difference between profit and cash, the difference between income and expenses, how do assets, liabilities, and equity work in your business. And more importantly, not a single business course out there talks about taxes either. Yeah. And sure, yeah, you can get trained up with marketing, branding, all these things. They're great, important things of your business. But by the end of the day, you can have the most amazing marketing plan, you can have the most amazing product, you can have the most amazing sales. But if you can't meet your financial obligations, your company is still going to get wound up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Advice.
And let's face it, 90% of business owners aren't financial experts. So if you're starting a business, get in touch with an accountant. And if you can't afford an accountant, go to thecomicaccountant.com, because we've got heaps of free resources exactly for small business owners, specifically geared for small business owners who are starting out for the first time.
And we've had a couple of sessions with you, a number probably would be more. And we talked about setting up correctly, like
Yep.
starting how to set up your business financially, and that session was really good. And it talked about this barefoot thing about having different accounts for different things and how to scale. And we talked about how to pay yourself. And we've done a number of great sessions. They've been really good. So do check them out on the platform. Agree about the finding a good accountant. Our old accountant ripped us off 1,000 plus. Got a new one now. Oh my gosh, that is terrible.
That is horrible. But I'm happy to hear that you found an accountant that you can work with.
Yeah.
And I think the key to
I'm so sorry for your loss, because people money is hard.
Money's hard.
You can't do things without it. So I'm so sorry to hear that happened to you.
Yeah. And I think the key to finding a good accountant is actually just to find one who cares, really.
Yeah.
I think it's too often that I hear from my clients who've left their accountants for us is that their accountant just didn't care enough about them.
Oh, I've had that number of times, honestly, where I've just gone, this person really doesn't care about me at all. They just want me to pay them the money. They file a check. There's no advice. There's no, and you're just left there going, oh, okay.
What did I just pay you for?
I guess I've filed my taxes. At least I've done that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you feel often like, did I get everything? Were there things that I could have deducted? Were there things that I could have done to have made room for other stuff? But that person doesn't seem invested in your future, So they might not take the extra time to be like, to inquire deeper about what you do and what tools you use to do that, and how you could, expense some additional things in order to, not pay as much tax or what have you. Yeah. Sam, it's always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to be here, Anna Marie.
You're going to need to have like a proper sit down after this, because you did a podcast before this. Now you've done this. You've probably been talking for like a good 2 hours.
I've got a client meeting at 11:15 as well, actually, after this. So.
Well, we're going to let you go. Thanks everyone for tuning in on social media and here on Zoom. Sam, we've got some sessions set up with you from the comic accountant perspective coming up later in the year. So do look out for those. They're always really great topics, and you really do learn a lot when you tune into these sessions. So thanks again, Sam. You're an absolute star.
Thank you, Anna Marie. So are you.
I'll take it. Thanks. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Check out Checkable. If you haven't already, go to the website. Our new AI is up and ready to go. You could run your new site through it. Yeah.
Checkable.
So you can run your website through it. You can run your social media through it. It will do a full diagnostic on your website, on your social media, if you're registered with Digital Boost, and it will advise you on things that you can change and do, and direct you to video content, and it'll do all kinds of great stuff. So we hope that you will check it out. Our support team is standing by if you have any issues. All hands on deck for this launch of Checkable today. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful day. See you next time. Harith. Bye.